Hi everybody, my name is Hannah and this is Pepper and Pine, and today I want to share with you the game Into the Forest, Nature's Food Chain Game by Ampersand Press. Now, I've been playing this with my kids, but we originally used this game for an entirely different purpose, and I'm going to share that with you, and I'm also going to share with you how to play this game. So originally we were using these cards as inspiration for our nature journal. You can see that the cards are really beautifully illustrated, and they come with important information that relates to the food chain. So for a while, we were just each picking out one of these cards and then drawing it in our nature journal. I'm going to show that to you really quickly. So we each had one, and I would just draw a circle. I did this for my kids as well, and then I would use a pencil and kind of outline the drawing, and then I would line it with a fine liner like this. This is a 0.3 fine liner, and then we would fill it in with watercolors. So for a while we did this. At first we just drew it, then we decided to add a little bit more information to them, and I did, I think, 4 entries. And I'm going to show you my children's in a second. So my son started out with this one here, and then he wrote a little bit about worms below. And then I chose another one. I sat with him and chose another one. And he did, I think, just 2. It's a challenge working outside sometimes because you get distracted by gardening and playing. So he went ahead and did 2 of them. But overall, we really enjoyed these cards for their beautiful illustrations and for the information that they provided below. But you can actually use them for its intended purpose, and that's to play the Nature Forest Food Web game. So it comes with this chart, and of course it comes with some directions, and then it comes with a score card, and then you have all of the cards. So I'm going to show you how to play this. Now, it was fun the first few times, but we didn't find this to be a really challenging game. It's you play it a little bit like War, and you can also do challenges as well, but we didn't find it as interesting to play as a game as we found it as helpful to use as part of our nature unit for the cards themselves. So the first thing you do is you divide up the cards amongst the players. So in our family, we're either playing with 2 players or 3 players. Now the cards, there isn't an even number of cards to be divided up amongst 2 or 3 or 4 players. So the first thing is that whoever has the least amount of cards gets an additional 5 points on their scorecard. And then you basically play it like you would play War. So you each, like if this is a player and this is a player, you flip over your cards. And then if you have the bird, you can see that the bird eats all of these things right here. And if this card, the opponent's card, is one of the things that you eat, then you get to take both cards back. And if neither of them eat the other, then they just, again, keep their own card, and then they can keep playing until somebody wins. So here we have birds on trees, and they eat all of these things. And then you have a fruit, and it's eaten by all of these things, and then it doesn't eat anything. And so birds on twigs eat fruit, but not birds on the trunks. So then you'll keep going. So here you have skunks and an owl, and owls are eaten by bobcats, but do they eat skunks? Yes, they do. So in this case, this team would take both cards. Now, another way you could play this is by challenging an opponent. So suppose you're this team and you have the centipedes card, and you want to challenge your opponent and ask your opponent, well, do you have the plant-eating insects? And if the opponent has the plant-eating insects card, then this player would take both of those cards. And so in that way, you would play the game. And the way that you finally end the game is by either playing for a certain amount of rounds or a certain amount of time. And then you can tally up your points. And the points are up here in the top corner. And these are your energy points. So you would tally up your points, and then you would figure out who the winner was. So the thing that's nice about this game, which is a little different than the way the rules suggest, is that we end up playing our games super fast. So in the directions, it says that you can play for 3 or 4 rounds at 20 minutes each, which really makes quite a long game. Or they say the long version, which is 45 minutes, which I think is shorter than this version, the time version. But either way, that's way too long to be playing the same game because you end up going through these cards really quickly. If you're playing with 3 players, you have about 13 cards each, and you can go through those cards in about 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, and then of course you can keep those cards and keep them in your deck and continue to play until that time is done. But still, you'd be going through your deck really quickly, or you would just be playing for a really long time. And for us, really long games, you really have to invest in them and really have enough time to play them. So being able to modify the directions a little bit to play a shorter game means that we're not going to lose interest in the game. It's going to be fun from the beginning to the end, and we're still going to learn something in the whole process. So educational games are really fantastic in that sense because you're learning throughout the whole thing, even if you're playing for 5 minutes or you're playing for an hour. So we enjoy this game a little bit. It's not like our favorite game at all, but again, the cards are so beautifully illustrated that I feel like you can have multiple uses for this game, not just playing it the way that the directions say. And then of course you've got your chart here that can help you identify where your cards belong in the whole food chain, which is also great if it coordinates with your curriculum, or it's just great just as information for the kids. All right, so overall, this game is one that would work really great for a nature study unit. It's called Into the Forest, and it's Nature's Food Chain game, and you can find it at Ampersand Press. We got this as hand-me-down, but I know that they're available online. If you've played this game before, let me know about it below. And if you want to see some of the projects that we've done with our nature unit, you can tap on the screen right now.